Hi, I'm Q, and I play Vox Windbler. Vox is a half-elf fighter and assassin rogue. She was born and lived most of her life in Asparia at the end of the Salt Valley. Her parents are Ava Windbler, who knew Perrin when they both lived in the Feywilds, and Turan Windbler. Ava's half-brother Balak murdered Turan, imprisoned Ava, and controlled Vox's uncle Theon. This results in Vox being thrust into chaos instead of the peace she had known. She eventually finds love with Reviana Brighthand, the captain of the Royal Guard, before Balak frames Vox for murdering the king of the Salt Valley, and manipulates circumstances to cause her to travel to the Dreadspire, leaving behind everything she knew. Now she travels the world with her found family, her talking sword Brightburn, to create a better future for those she loves.
Howdy, my name is Sean, and I play Atticus Phoenix. Atticus is a human fighter with a champion/homebrewed mage slayer archetype. Atticus hails from one of the oldest royal houses in Nymeria, the House of the Phoenix, which is nestled deep within the South Green, but has been wandering the continent for some time as a knight, pledging his sword to upkeep the memory of his family and to protect the people of the land. He is haunted by an ancient entity known as the Darkness, which has cursed him and his entire family with a plague that has left him and a few others as the last of their name. Atticus is the father of Atlas, his long-lost son, best friend to Cletus Legrand of the Hill Giants, former partner of Burgent Fellhammer, and designated leader of the party.
My name is Tyler James, and I play Perrin Meliamne. Perrin is a wood elf, bard, and ranger. Perrin was born on the Golden Shores to fulfill a lost prophecy before he was transported to the Feywild to escape the land's destruction. There he was raised by a figure half forgotten to all Nymeria, and eventually traveled the land under the control of Balak Morgrasp, while learning to be a con man and wanderer. He seeks to find peace between the necessity of violence in a cruel world and his deep love of life in all its complexity. Perrin is the adoptive father of Fauna, a pledged squire of Atticus Phoenix, keeper of the Door Realm Key, companion of Amos the Mockingbird, and wielder of the Ornament of Rights.
My name is Aaliyah and I play Fauna. She is a witch raised in the Evewood Coven that was recently wiped out by the Night Guard. Although Perrin is the closest thing she currently has to a father, her real parentage is still a mystery, as are the Horns, which seem to be some kind of curse. She has a black cat familiar who is her best friend and constant companion, and has now found a new family in the ragtag party she has joined up with on this adventure.
My name is June, and I play Nyxloon, a shadow elf, divine sorcerer, and rogue assassin with our shared pronouns of she/they. The last remaining heir to the Nightlands and prime of the Court of Night, Nyx was secreted into an enchanted locket to survive an ancient war, where they were soon lost to time and the whims of their Loomstone's wielder. From close friend and confidant of the Queen, to gauche pawn and ruthless assassin for the Speakers, Nyx was passed from many hands throughout history, and changed much of it. Now freed from the Loomstone's control, Nyx has only 3 goals: repay their life debt to Atticus Phoenix, protect their godson, Perrin Meliamne, and reclaim what was stolen from them in memory, identity, and homeland.
My mic's not on. Now it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Feast of
Important.
Dice channel. This is our weekly actual play castle run, and I am your DM, All Edge Goodall. Pronouns they, them. I'm just going to do the recap really quick and then get into it. But when we left the party last, after a long and perilous journey, you finally all arrived at Phoenix Manor, the ancestral home of Atticus. After kind of exploring the grounds and taking a little R&R, you all met up with Atticus again for him to give you the official tour of the manor. And along the way, learned a few things, ended in the Library of Atlas, and then learned a few more things, including the story of, finally, the full story of Bert, your little frog knight companion. And along with that, a few more details about what has happened to Atlas, the son of Atticus Phoenix, and how he came to be, or how his soul came to be joined in Bert's body, creating an Erebus. And when we ended the last session, the group was headed to the grotto beneath the manor, skipping past the welcome dinner. Atticus already kind of having sent out missives to allies to gather for a war council that will now occur after the trials in the grotto beneath the mansion. And that is where we're picking up today. Atticus. We are actually cutting back just real quick. You are lying in bed as a child, and like she did most nights, your mother, Athena, is tucking you into bed and telling you a story. Atticus, have I ever told you about the Knights of the Phoenix and the march into the South Green?
Yeah, I remember there's a big robot guy or big metal guy.
Yeah, there was a big metal guy. I'll tell you again anyway. And Athena proceeds to tell you one of your favorite stories, which is the March of the Knights of the Phoenix, their first march, and perhaps their greatest into the South Green. In detailing these events, a lot of times when she's told you the story in the past, you have been told, oh, there we are. We lost Q for a second. A lot of times in the past, you've been told the story from the perspective of your mother and your father. What they fought, what they encountered. This time, she tells it a little different. And she includes characters that you've heard of sometimes before, but never really has the focus been on these characters before. And she tells you about Hugo Dubois, the wandering ranger and hedge knight. She tells you about Amaya and the enormous automaton that you love hearing about so much, Cav. And she tells you about the mouse paladin, Matthias Florian, who the city of St. Florian is named after. As she reaches the end, she kind of tucks you in, gives you a little kiss on the forehead. Atticus, you know what my favorite part of that story is?
The super strong mouse folk.
Well, yes. It's that it was the courage and strength of small things that won the day. And were it not for St. Florian, well, the South Green would be a very different place today. Atticus, one day, our legacy will fall to you. You'll become a Knight of the Phoenix, and it'll be your responsibility to carry on that tradition to others, to undergo the trials with them, to knit them and bring them together in a unbreakable bond, so that when dark things come, you can be a light.
I don't know about that, Ma. Dad said the trials are really scary.
Well, they can be. They certainly test us. I'll tell you this. Our Othgar family to the south, they have a saying, and it goes a little something like this. From the green we are born, to the green we return. May it be ever unbroken. What does that mean to you?
Does it mean like we're all one and the same?
Yeah, in a way. What it's really talking about is that before we were here, there were good and beautiful things in the world, and, well, Atticus, we come from those good and beautiful things, and it's our job to uphold them so that one day, when we return to that place which we came from, we leave the world even more beautiful than we found it. Can I tell you something that we say in the Phoenix family that kind of goes hand in hand with that?
Yeah. I mean, I should know if I'm going to be Mr. Head of the House and stuff.
Yeah, well, Mr. Head of the House, you've got a little ways still, but one day, this sword, and Athena does happen to be, this is like, not usually, but she is right now actually in her armor with the full sword that Atticus now as an adult carries, but she has it strapped to her back, massive sword. She's kneeling there by your bed telling you a story. Know this, my little echo say, that even when the darkness descends and hope seems impossible, the fire never goes out.
That's pretty cool, Mom. Did you make that up? Did you come up with that? Or did Dad? No, you definitely came up with that. Dad,
Don't tell
put
your
it-
father he's not so great at, you know, his thing's more war and my thing's, well, my thing's war too, but I'm a little better at telling stories. That's why I always put you to bed.
Yeah, he also likes these stories too.
Yeah, well, your father's lived a lot of stories. Good night, Atticus.
Night, Mom. I love you. And Atticus is gonna jump up, give a big kiss on the cheek to his mom, and then turn over and immediately fall asleep. like anime bubble in the nose and everything.
Honk shoe.
Honk shoe. The party is reunited outside the grotto. Before you step into this sacred place, that Vox, the astral form of Ravania, pulls you aside for a moment. Vox, this is a sacred place, and if you're about to undergo the trials entailed here, in this form, if I were to go in here with you, I would need to be physically present. It's not something I can undertake in the form that I bear now. What I can do, I know we're here at Phoenix Manor. It's Atticus's home, and most likely you're safe, but nonetheless, I can keep watch here at the entrance and make sure that, well, that all you face in there are the trials.
And thank you. Is just gonna bring her into a big squeeze and then turn and walk in.
Okay. You are all headed into the grotto. Actually, let me check and make sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we got the right backdrop up on the stream. You are here in the grotto. Atticus, you've been in here before. And George, I think in an internship that brought George to Phoenix Manor once, George, you've gotten a glimpse of the grotto. You've never truly gotten to explore it. As you, let me find my little, where's my little music cue for this place? We are. As you enter it, Atticus, you and everyone else are greeted by the sight of there's this immense cavern. Several large torches on the wall burn. Atticus, you know that these torches, they are not lit by staff. These are, well, magic. They have been burning since you can remember as a child, and they have never gone out. These kind of two large torches at the far ends of the cavern are bright enough with the small pools of water that fill the grotto down here to reflect and fill the entire space with light. At the far end, Atticus, is a waterfall that just kind of pours into a pool at the far end. Atticus, go ahead and give me a history check real quick.
$15.
Perfect. On a 15, Atticus, you know the story of Tamnakim, which is the blade of the Phoenix family. And you now know, most likely, it's sacred weapon to the court of Valiant Flame. This particular blade is meant to... It is essentially an eternally burning sword that is said to float within the waterfall beneath Phoenix Manor in the grotto. And this is the sword that you are meant to use to knight those who complete the trials and wish to become a Knight of the Phoenix. As you walk in, though, I mean, you've been in here before, and I will say that you've never seen a sword in this place in the couple other times you've been in here. In this moment, again, there is no sword, but without a check, you feel a pull in your mother's sword that you now wield as your own. You feel a pull towards the far end of the grotto.
Atticus kind of looks at the party and then looks at Bert and is going to kind of kneel down and go, yeah, usually there's like a crowd here for an maiden ceremony and it's this whole thing, but we're just going to have to forego that for now. And
I mean, we
Atticus
kind of got
gonna
a
look
crowd.
at the-
There's at least 7 of us, 9 if you count the cat and the bird.
yeah, it's a small crowd for sure. I mean, usually
Why
there's
would you not count them?
Oh no, I mean
It's really
I'm counting them. That's 9. I just
Right. Talking Frog's like, oh, I'm better than the other animals. I'm gonna count them in an addendum.
all right. Well, I've been put in my
Right.
yeah.
Just was just a big
How
day
many
for you,
people
so I
I
want to
want
make sure
around
you
you?
like keep it together. I want to keep your keep you humble.
I appreciate it. Yeah, keep me humble. One of the tenants. I got it.
Yeah, Atticus is like, oh, thank God I'm like not knighting. Thank God, like I told him not to be a knight. No, just kidding. Atticus is gonna look at the group and like, well, yeah, if y'all want to follow me across the grotto, we'll get this show on the road.
So
and,
I just want to clarify, like when you say it's sacred, are we allowed to kill anything if it?
I mean,
Like, do we fight back? Do we just take it?
I mean, the trials, I can't, it's, Atticus is gonna like walk towards like the like ceremonial area, and while explaining, he's like, I wish I could tell you what you could and can't do in the trials. I mean, it's all in the eyes of whoever is going through it. It's not the same for everybody. I can't even describe what might happen for Bert or any other people that embrace it. It's a truly unique experience for everybody.
All right.
But I can tell you that these trials will test your your wits, will test your heart and see what you're truly made of. It tells you what type of person you are by the end of it.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, when I did my trial, I had to fight my father in my trial, and I legit thought I was fighting my father, which now that I'm thinking about makes a lot of sense all these years
Well,
later.
we fought that dude.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you will see what you are meant to see, and it's pass fail. There's no like graded scale for this. It's not like 80% gets you. It's pass fail.
So no pressure. Gotcha.
I feel a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready.
George is at the back of the group, and he's got like a heaping backpack and has like a little hand cart full of like herbs and supplies and candles and shit.
Cletus is also back there with you, which Cletus is ready to undertake the trials here as well too. But he's bringing up the rear with George.
Wait, George has a backpack? Where'd he get it?
Oh, it's Perrin loaned him one. Perrin was like, "Oh, that's too much shit to carry in your hands," and George was like, "Yeah, I have no idea how I'm gonna carry it all." And Perrin's like, "Yeah, it's not a problem. See how this has 2 straps on it."
Just give him his backpack filled with Perrin crap in it, though.
Yeah. George has blood all over his back now. This is good. I needed some blood, and I didn't want to kill anybody innocent,
You all begin to make your way across the grotto. Atticus, the closer you draw to the falls at the back, the more you feel the pull of your mother's blade.
The one that I am currently wielding,
The one
right?
that you are currently wielding, yes.
Yeah. Atticus, as they get towards the waterfall area, kind of senses what's going on and kind of pulls his sword out and kind of holds it in the air, like in a pose that they feel like would they see their dad do when they were knighting somebody.
Yeah. As you pull this out, Atticus, the tip of the blade just barely slices into the curtain of water in front of you. And all of you see, for a moment, it's just a blade dividing this waterfall as it sort of peels off to either side. And then it begins to glow. Golden flame replacing the water that flows down. It begins to lick up the blade. And the water does not put this fire out. And you do remember the words of your mother, Atticus, that the fire never goes out. And as you are holding the blade in here, you hear a familiar shifting in the back of the grotto, Atticus, a sound that you have heard once before in this space. As you know, a pathway further in is opening. All you have to do to get there is step past the falls.
Atticus looks at the party and says, all right, well, this is it. So anyone who doesn't want to take part in it, no pressure. You can sit it out. But yeah, as soon as you walk through here, it's gloves off, and whatever happens, happens.
Oh, it's a phrase. I'll keep my gloves on.
I mean,
Bert, who's already taken both his
your-
gloves off, puts both the gloves back on.
Depending on your trial, you might want to take your gloves off. You never know what's gonna.
Bert, go one on, one off. That's what's safest.
If I can give any advice before going, I was being a little bit coy earlier, but from what I've surmised, and maybe Cletus can back this up as someone who's been through the trial before, it seems to target what you are most afraid of.
Again, God damn it.
Your biggest fear, your biggest whatever, and the goal is to overcome it. Whatever way that shows, it can show in very artistic way. It can show in like a combat way. It's a place of deep and rich magical power. I can't really describe how it's going to come to you, and it might surprise you too. So, to all these people that I deeply care about, if you don't want to go through with it, you don't have to come with. But if you're willing to go and you succeed, you'll be a knight of the Phoenix.
Is that
But
all
this
right
doesn't
if I
sound
just
that
go
hard
along
at
and
all.
watch?
No one's ever done that before, actually. No one's ever just come to watch before.
I mean, my greatest fear is that I don't get to write down any notes about whatever's going on in there.
Cletus
Wow.
looks at George and then over to you, Atticus. Atticus, I've been through it before. I'll keep an eye on him.
All right. Yeah. And Atticus kind of waits for anyone's response or objection, and then kind of whips his sword up to cast light into the cave behind the waterfall and starts walking through. And he's going to whisper to Bert, "You got this, man. You got it."
Thanks. I can do this. I can do this. As all of you go to walk through single file, the fire that was on Atticus's sword begins to actually spread up the waterfall, so much so that it makes this archway or a passage through where the fire just kind of licks at the border of the opening in these falls, and you can all walk through one at a time into the caverns beyond this grotto. As you all begin to do this, a chill, oddly enough, like a wind, some kind of breeze, whether it's that further down in the cavern there is some opening to the surface, or simply that there's just so many like paths and ways down here that the air is circulating up to this higher point in the grotto all the time, but there is a stale and at the same time cold breeze that just kind of gently stirs as you enter further into the caverns. Everyone go ahead and you're all going to make survival checks for me. Okay, we got a 4. We got a 21.
14.
22.
18 for Perrin. Does George need to roll?
Yes. Or no, actually, no. Cletus is just going to roll, and that'll include George, since Cletus is keeping an eye on George. Really, I mean, honestly, for Atticus, for both you and Cletus, like, you've both gone through the trials, so Atticus, you're not expecting... Like, you don't really know what to expect, having already gone through this. Like, you don't know if really you're going to be here as a guy, like, what is going to happen. But Cletus will roll for George. Okay. George, you and Cletus are
Steve
good.
Mill Plays for raiding again.
Shout out to the raid.
Hey, Raiders!
Hey, Stevie Mills. Hey, Raiders. Welcome.
On a...
Everyone roll a d6.
5.
1.
3.
2.
Gordito, thank you for that subscription.
Okay. We are entering in here. Lowest survival check was a 4. Anyone that rolled above a 20, which I think would just be, is it just Vox? Was it Vox and Fauna? Were the only two that got above a 20? As you are navigating the cavern, it becomes clear pretty quick. Like, the path changes, and it's like a lot of caverns. You will enter into one massive chamber only to have it narrow off and become incredibly claustrophobic. There are points to where you're kind of having to crouch and pick your way through. At a certain point, you feel, as you are crouching through one of these spaces, you're leaning to the left, and there's that feeling when you're in a very tight space and there's no like openings around you, that like you can just, even if you're not brushing up against them, you can just feel that proximity. Something changes in the darkness. You feel a part of the floor that you are just has like dropped away into, you don't know how deep. And as you go to fall forward, I mean, it's either Fauna or Vox, whoever's walking next to you, has the opportunity to make, we'll call this, I think, basically they can give you advantage, Nyx, on a dexterity saving throw, not to have something bad happen here in this cavern as you were picking your way through it. So, Nyx, go ahead and make me a...
You were just now mentioning these small spaces. That very much makes sense for why Nyx rolled a 4. They are extremely claustrophobic.
Yeah.
They're already in the middle of what is rapidly becoming a worsening panic attack.
Yeah, give me a dex save, and do it with advantage.
First one was a 14. 14 is the highest. Second one was a 10.
Okay. Because I like the narrative, I'm going to say, Vox, you're there. Like, there's enough light from Atticus's sword that it's not pitch black in here. It is very dim lighting. You see Nyx start to stumble into what you see is very narrow, not long, but it's large enough for a body to fall into, and you have no idea how far it would be, but you're there in time to, like, reach out a hand if you
I think
do so.
Fox would reach out, but like grabs by like the cloak and does like one of these and is like, watch where we're going.
Nyx is breathing extremely heavily and can't even respond, and almost, I think, just in the dark and fear of it all, is actually like clinging to Vox right now.
Fox kind of like awkwardly would pat and be like, it's fine. This is fine.
Vox, give me a perception check right now. On a 16, I'm going to let Nyx decide, but Vox did specifically grab you by the hood and pulled a little bit. On a 16, does Vox notice anything?
Pulling back. I'm going to say, just because of the position, you catch a glint of their circlet off of the flame, and a flash of a heavily mutilated ear, and what looks like more scars trailing down before they quickly yank it back up.
Yeah, Fox would not say anything about that.
Yeah.
Not now.
Yeah. Okay. No further incidents. You are all making your way further into the caverns. As you do so, though, I'm going to ask for an Arcana check from Fauna and from Atticus.
$19.
26.
Okay. Fauna and Atticus, you can both intuitive. There are several spots here, where the path can kind of split. Both of you at this point are beginning to feel a pull, though, further back into these caverns. And it's like you're following something, a silent call, an invisible guide, but something is pulling you in the right direction. And I think both of you kind of start to lead the party. Atticus, on your incredibly high Arcana check, you've been through the trials before. Something feels different this time. You feel a fire burning in you. Last time, you kind of wrote that off as nerves and something in your gut. Like, you just wrote it off as nerves. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It is like electrical currents running through your body at this point. And as you turn around to check on the rest of the group, make sure everyone's getting there safely, you can see these just barely visible threads running from you to Fauna, to Vox, to Nyx, to Perrin, to Bert. everyone, I mean, Cletus and George are there too. You see threads but the threads running to them aren't quite as, they're almost more like they tend to drift in and out, but you see a strong thread connecting everyone in here who is taking place or taking part in the trials. And
You
yeah.
you feel that? You feel that, Fauna? You feel that pull?
Yeah, something's out there.
This feels different than when I did the trials on my own. I think usually it's you're solo, but I think we're all in this together.
Wait, so this is pass or fail for the whole group?
I mean, that's when we do our
so.
best work, so
I
think we
think
have
I
a
might have
better
a chance now.
But yeah, maybe whoever judges this just, take the average and they'll grade it on a curve.
Yeah, that would be great if we had
Just
confirmation
please.
of that.
Just please tell me it opens up into a cavern here soon. Please.
Are you all right, Nix?
No, I'm not. And Nyx is
Atticus is
pushing
gonna-
against the walls
Atticus
actively.
Doesn't know. It changes for everyone. It's a warping place of high magical energy. He's gonna go, yeah, for sure. For sure it does. Fully lying. Doesn't know. But is trying to convince Nick that it does. Oh yeah.
Just keep moving, keep moving.
None of you have seen any other life down here yet. As so far, there are occasionally small trickles of water, drips that echo through the caverns down here. As it opens up into a much larger space now, thankfully for Nyx, you hear echoes coming from deeper in, strange creatures. There are cries and an occasional low rumbling growl. You don't see anything. And it is hard to tell, are there creatures somewhere? Are there things we haven't run into yet? Or is it just drafts blowing down strange, eerie caverns through openings and making sounds? But as you enter into this larger space before you, Atticus, this cavern does look familiar. You realize that this is kind of the last point before you hit that final path where you do have to face your fears, your greatest fears. In this space, all of you, no check required. It is like there is a perfect resonance that just fills the space, and it gets a little bit quieter. There is no audible voice that speaks it. But what you feel passing through you now is almost this it is like the sight of a crowd of witnesses unseen, all turning their eyes upon you. And in this moment of being vulnerable before whatever this invisible crowd of witnesses is, you all begin to feel different points resonate. Your mind or your minds are brought to points where all of you at different points in this journey and in your lives echoed the tenets of the Knights of the Phoenix. Courage and strength, all of you have shown it in battle with one another and in quiet moments. Devotion, trust, choosing to follow Atticus simply because he needed help, and he had been there to help all of you in some way or another. Particularly in you, Atticus, and then also in the rest of the group for following your lead in it. But the tenet of justice echoes, and you recall the moment of saving Nyx in the chapel in Imago, and striking down Father Emil and the fell spirit that emerged out of him. Perrin, the tenet of mercy echoes within you as you think of your quiet moment alone with Silica on the rooftop of the small farmhouse on the way to Imago. Your attempt to give him a life, to offer him redemption, and also the redemption that you offered Balak when he was deserving of far worse things. Fauna, the tenet of generosity echoes especially in you, and you think of how in every step of the way along this journey, you have used the gift of your magic for the benefit of everyone else without asking for anything in return. And as these moments, these tenets, you feel that group of witnesses gazing upon these things. Of the 6 paths before you, each of you intuitively knows which one is yours alone to take. Is there anything that you're doing in this chamber in this moment before everyone goes on their own little walk down the...
Perrin casts bonfire in an open area, and he starts walking around the group and tightening up everyone's straps and sheaths and all that kind of stuff, and just doing a check over of everyone's equipment. This is mostly busy work. He doesn't really need to do this, nor does anyone need it, but he needs to feel better about helping everyone be prepared.
Yeah.
Quietly, as Perrin is doing that in front of Nyx. Might even make you roll to see if you hear it. They will whisper just a little. You're so much like her. And then just kind of lightly pat him on the side of the face and good luck out there.
What? You really got to sharpen this knife. No, this is the back. Sorry. That's the wrong
That one's
way.
yours. You gave me 3 of them. Still been
You're
hanging
right.
on to them. You never
Perrin
asked
tucks
for
it
them
back
back.
into her belt. I really got to sharpen those knives.
Fauna is, before she goes down her path, just uses her ritual of death ward, and she just casts it on Bert to help protect him extra on his journey, since it is maybe the most important of all of ours.
Yeah. There's not a lot of visual. It's, tell me what does it look like when you do this ritual? Is it just a little touch, a word?
Yeah, I don't think, because she kind of has to do the actual ritual at the beginning of the day, basically, to have it effective. So it's not really casting so much as directing the energy at the person or being frog, whatever. And I don't think it would really be visible at all unless someone had also really high arcana or magic abilities, and then it would only be sort of just a light shimmer.
As Perrin goes through, he's kind of humming to himself, just kind of working around some lyrics in his head, and and he gives bardic inspiration to Bert and to Fauna. I just rolled random dice, so
Cool.
that's the two people who get bardic inspiration. You get an extra D8.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Fun as you transfer this ear, you're standing next to Bert and you kind of reach out. Bert looks up to you, smiles a little bit and nods, takes a breath. All right, well, I think I know which one is mine.
You'll be fine, Bert. Just,
Yeah.
Be you.
I can do that. I can be me.
Do you want some extra knives just in case?
I would love some extra knives. If I could have like 4 or 5 extra knives, I just feel. I think I'll like tape them to my hands or something so I can.
Fox does give him four daggers.
Bert starts as he's tying. Fana looks back to you. Well, all right. I see you on the other side then. And roll me a little perception check to see if you hear what he says to himself under his breath. Just trying to hit a 10 or higher.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It was 14 on the die, so it's like 20-something.
Yeah.
The fire never goes out. Fire never goes out.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah.
Just be you, man.
Okay.
Just be you.
Okay. Just be me. I got it.
Bert's he had his sword out checking it. He's gonna sheath his sword. Does have knives all over his hands though. And heads down the path first out of everyone.
Hey, Bert, if you do anything cool, think of cool words that rhyme, that describe it, and then just get back to me.
Think of cool words that rhyme. Oh yeah, I got it. I'll write them down. I got my alphabet book right here. So.
Oh no, what if Bert's trial is to spell stuff? We're doomed.
It's a spelling bee.
The bee
Atticus
stings
kind
them.
of looks at the group, and Atticus is just kind of sitting by the bonfire that Perrin made, and he's gonna let everyone go before him because he's done this all before. He's kind of giving everyone a look if they need a last minute chat about what goes on here. Actually, Atticus just says, "Yeah, before you go on your own journey, you need anything from me, I'll be here. I'll wait. I'll watch all you guys walk down, and then I'll do mine."
Right, I guess I could ask a question, which is where am I supposed to go? Supposed to pick a random hole then?
Atticus, maybe we should go with you. I mean, I can't imagine the trials are gonna happen in either one of us again, right?
Yeah, but there will. I mean, usually if you come down here, there's an entrance. George, you see anything that's calling you?
George looks around.
George, you look around, you don't feel a connection to any of these. You could roll me an Arcana check or an Insight check in this moment.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20 on Insight or Arcana?
That's Arcana.
Okay. On Arcana, you don't feel a pull towards any path. You do think, knowing that Atticus has gone through the trials already, but there are 6, you can count, you can do the math, 6 paths leads to, if Bert took one, that leaves the 5 members of the party who you have joined. So if one's not for you, if you don't feel a pull towards a particular one, then if it is for Atticus, you've never heard of anyone doing the trials twice. So the most interesting path, perhaps, would be to see what happens if you do follow Atticus. Okay. Everyone is taking their path. I'm just going to make it random as to whose path we do first. I'm going to roll a die, and I'll just go in alphabetical order, which means Bert is after Atticus. is a 4, which means Atticus burnt. Okay. Okay.
Is it me?
It's
Okay.
It's Nyx.
Good.
Nyx, you begin to walk down the path. While it starts out wide, it quickly begins to narrow. And as the path begins to narrow, let me look for where's my little music cue? There you are. It's not as claustrophobic and tight before, but it is enough to make you feel uncomfortable, Nyx. There's no echo anymore. You can hear your own breath in the cavern. It seems to be the only sound in here, and the sound fills your ears. You realize the floor of the cavern, so far, there's the occasional little small pool of water that collects, or there's been kind of the rough, rocky path that you've been following. Things begin to get softer. You're stepping in sand. And it's not unpleasant. And as you begin to walk further, you can hear a sound in the distance. Waves crashing on a shore. And a familiar smell begins to drift down the corridor to you. As the path rounds a bend, you come out into a space where you're not in the cavern anymore. You are on the shore of a beach. It's night. And it is a new moon. No moon in the sky. As you look up or above, the moon not being there, there's the light of stars and then the light of Loonhelm, your ancestral home, a tower perched on a cliff at the edge of the sea. You see the lights on. As you look around, something familiar. Not just the place. Certainly you've been to this stretch of beach before. It lay just beneath your home. This is where you used to come to adventure, to think, to explore. There's something not just about this place, but this moment that feels familiar. And when you look up, you see two figures near the ocean. One, a woman wearing a kind of just simple dark robe, hood pulled back, a emblem of like a little tiny arc of moon phases across the chest. A kind smile, dark, kind of short, curly hair. And you recognize your nursemaid from when you were young. The other figure, Nyx, takes you a moment because it's been so long since you've been this version of yourself. But you see you as a child, standing there with your nursemaid, holding hands, looking out at the shore. You realize what the moment is that you're looking at. as something else. All around you, in it, like you barely have like even a couple inches to move. The air is already becoming stale and you can't smell the ocean anymore. And you see familiar shimmering, almost like water or light passing through water. And you realize it's like you're looking out at this scene from inside the Loonstone. Give me a perception check.
$19.
On a 19, I'm going to give you a choice. Because in this moment, looking out, you know the moment immediately. You see a young you like release your nursemaid's hand. You see yourself kind of go running down along the shore as she stands there and watches you run, smiling. And you feel it before you see anything. The bottom of your stomach falls out into an impossible void. The temperature lowers 10 degrees inside the Loonstone. And one by one, the stars above you quickly blot out. As you see yourself continue to run, you watch the nursemaid kind of give a curious look and turn to look directly at you, or maybe just behind you. And that's when you hear it. Footsteps. Slow, at first, moving through the sand, but they sound like some enormous being hunching down, walking slowly towards the shoreline. Does Nyx continue to watch?
I think as soon as she turns to make eye contact with me or behind me or whatever, like against the Loonstone's glass, Nyx is already pounding and screaming and like run, trying to get her to move. And they know what happens next, and I think they're trying to stop it, get to them first.
You can give me two things. If you have a spell that you think would pertain to breaking out of this, you're welcome to like use it, and if it's tweaking the spell a little bit, you can make an Arcana check, or you can just make like an athletics check to, like, if you're really trying to physically break through the barrier of what seems to be your Loonstone. I'm willing to call it a charisma check instead of an athletics check, since we've called things attached to the Loonstone like that before in the past.
I'm going to do it at disadvantage, if only because of the claustrophobia also going on.
Okay.
This is a dirty 20. Literally same roll.
I like it. On a dirty 20, you don't allow the claustrophobia and the fear to cloud your senses, Nyx, as you pour all your will into changing. That you don't know if it's possible to change this moment in your history. But could you ever forgive yourself if you didn't try? The nearly invisible walls of the Lunestone in that moment shatter. The smell of the sea comes back, and something else. It's hard to... You couldn't put your finger on what this smell is, but it's something alien, foreign. The hairs on your arm stand up. And what it smells like is feelings, thoughts, like looking into the eyes of someone who has watched a loved one die before them, or someone who knows that their time has come too early. It is the feeling of standing in a room alone after an unforgivable betrayal, or the feeling of crushing weight and knowing that no one is coming to help you bear the burden. You feel a hand on your shoulder. Do you turn to look?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Nix, as you turn, you see a figure, all black. There is a hood on the cloak that they wear, but it is thrown back, revealing a face featureless. It is as black as the cloak that they wear, and other than the general shape, you see no features except two shining eyes that peer out. Oh. So this is your moment.
Leave her alone.
Well, you know, it's too late for me to leave her alone. You don't get a chance to go back and undo what I did.
I'm here now, aren't I? Just go back to the darkness.
Oh. I am the darkness. Nix, I am everything that you've ever been afraid of. And I am going to kill her. And after I kill her, I'm going to eat every bit of light that she was made of. Nix, give me a perception check.
16.
On a 16, the figure is closer now, within 6 inches of your face. You realize that the reason that the eyes in this featureless face shine out is not because there's any sort of light to them, but because the teeth are so white that they catch the light surrounded, because where two eyes should be, there are just two small mouths. The teeth shining where the eyes should be. I'll see you soon. Nyx, give me a wisdom saving throw in this moment.
That's a 4.
On a 4, you are paralyzed. You can't move. And as you stand there straining against some invisible bond, you watch this figure begin to walk towards the woman on the shore. And where they go, they don't cast shadow, but rather they draw a curtain behind them that no light penetrates. And that darkness spreads, so much so that you can't see dimension or the shape of stones jutting out of the sand. Everything in the wake of their footsteps is swallowed up in utter darkness. You see them approaching the woman frozen to the spot with fear. You see them gently take the side of their face, and you see them leaning close as they begin to grow immense, towering, 20 feet, 30 feet tall, now holding the woman who is still frozen. And even with their back turned, you know exactly where the woman is going as they lower their head down. You hear one piercing scream, the same scream that you heard as a child. And then the darkness dissipates, and the woman is standing there on the shore, only she's no longer whole. A large section of her face and her upper body just looks like it has been, like somebody has taken a large bite out of it. And you are free to move again. You are back in that cavern. And you see an exit on the far side.
Nyx doesn't take it for a good moment. I think at this point as soon as the paralyzing effects dropped from them, like they've already sunk to their knees and they are in the all too familiar fetal position. Their hands and fingernails just digging into the skin of their neck, their head tucked in between their legs, and they are collapsing on the floor and shaking, and I think it takes them a good long moment to finally open their eyes and focus on one of the rocks of the cavern and kind of find grounding in it and like recognize it as not their Loonstone and not the shore, and where they are, and listen to the wind through the tunnels and that like damp, stale smell, and all of it is not exactly comforting, but comforting in the fact that it's not what they're used to, and it's not what they know, and are, after a long moment of that, take a breath and kind of pull themselves up onto all fours and steel themselves and then head towards the exit.
And as you do, echoing in your mind, coming back almost of its own volition in this space, a little bit like someone else speaking it to you. You recall those last lines of the bit that you read in the children's story in the library. For beyond shadow cast by stone lay a horror no one knew, and brave must be the throne of old when comes the waning moon. I'm gonna roll another d6. Let's see who's next. That is a 1, which would be Atticus. Atticus, Atticus, you begin to walk down your corridor, Cletus and George in your company as well. Again, it feels different this time, far different than it did before. The energy at this point is, you have to double check because you're surprised that it's not just this visible rippling aura surrounding you. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
$10.
Okay. On a 10, actually, George is there with you. I would allow two things. I would either say that George can give you advantage on this check, or George can make an Arcana check for himself.
I think George is going to look at Atticus to get a vibe check of whether helping would be a good idea or not.
Yeah, Atticus, it's you. On a 10, you're not going to be, like, you wouldn't be able to quite get a bead on what's going on here. Do you look around like you're surprised in this moment? Like, does Atticus give any sign that, like, I'm a little
Atticus
lost here?
It has more of like a, like, they're still trying to piece it together type look, where they're just kind of like, they look obviously like confused.
Arcana?
Yes.
19.
Okay. I'm going to say that on the 19, you sort of look around for help. George, you pull out a couple instruments, and I suppose what I'll say is that, like, George, you're going to be able to use some of your instruments to tell what's going on in this place on a 19, and kind of as I tell you, you can be relating that information to Atticus, if that is what you want to offer as help. On the 19, yeah, cool. On the 19,
George will be sparing because he'll want to keep it fair, so he's not going to ruin it. But he'll be like,
cool.
"Have you noticed that the walls are kind of closing in a little bit?" He'll just give like a hint.
Yeah, I'll give you. The reveal here is this. George, as you begin to pull out instruments, you know that this place is sacred. Your suspicions are going to be confirmed. You've been to a couple sites like this before. None have been as intact as this one is. And you realize, George, that where you are is an oath shrine. You've never seen one and maybe it is just because this one has been hidden away beneath a manor for however many hundreds of years. Any of the other oath shrines that you've been to a couple others, have been worn and weathered, so they are almost unrecognizable, and almost all the traces of the arcane power that once existed there in enormous quantities had all but dissipated. In this place, it is alive and well. And what an oath shrine is an ancient place of power used by a group of people who wished to form a powerful bond that would allow them abilities far beyond what they normally would have been able to attain. It would grant power, magic, insight. The oath shrines are how the courts became the courts. Before the courts, they were just groups of people, heroes, certainly, or at least people of immense power and knowledge and resource. But when they found or built, no one is really sure, the lore in it is far too sparse, but when they came to these oath shrine sites, these, like the oath that they took here, is what enabled those individuals to become the forerunners of the courts. And that is where you are now. And it makes sense. Like, everything clicks into space and your suspicions are confirmed. This is why the Knights of the Phoenix were the Knights of the Phoenix. Because they came down, whether they were aware of the site that they were or unaware, you don't know. And I think, Atticus, you wouldn't know either. Like, you've never heard of any of this. But that is why the Knights of the Phoenix held the power that they did.
This is an incredible relic. I've heard about places like these, but it's like you can create a promise with a group. It creates power. This is incredible. Thank you for showing me this. I really appreciate the opportunity just to get a look at it. This is amazing. You could promise with a group of people and become just so much substantially stronger.
Mister, I have no idea what this is.
Oh, that's fine. That's totally all right.
But what'd you say? It's a place of power for a group?
Right. You could get together with a group and you could make an oath together, swear a promise together, and it's why probably the Knights of the Phoenix are the Knights of the Phoenix and not just a bunch of guys running around with swords and shit. So like it makes it real.
Yeah, Atticus is gonna approach this thing and kind of look at it.
You're looking through these devices. I'm not going to have you make another Arcana check as you're trying to I think a lot of these devices are a little beyond Atticus, like despite your centuries spent around magic, and it's never been your primary focus, Atticus. It was certainly your son's, but never yours. Make me an insight check.
$16.
You realize what the threads are. They are the bonds between you and your friends that already exist. And even being in this place is strengthening them in a way that you now begin to comprehend the reason that it feels different this time, Atticus, is because something pulled you back here. Something pulled you back to, like, you knew when you learned who the Mere Knight was, like, something in you snapped and you had to come home, and you thought you were coming here to explore a family legacy and perhaps right an old wrong that maybe your blood is more responsible for than you knew. But you realize that there was always something about the manor, like there was something pulling you to the manor. Here you are now, Atticus Phoenix, one of the last descendants to the Court of Valiant Flame. Friend Fauna, a witch of the Evewood Coven, and a member of the Court of Quiet Flowers. Nyx, who, against all odds, is somehow the surviving heir to the Nightlands. The prime of the Court of Guarding Night, like an original, when the courts were not disbanded. The inheritor to all that. You heard what George said when he met you, Perrin, an inheritor to the Court of Tides. The Court of Rising Tides, I should say, now that everyone knows the true names. And Vox. An apparent descendant from the Court of Timeless Hope. All 5 courts gathered here together in this space where courts were made. You realize that the oath, or the forswearing of a knight, the thing that you were here to do, there's something even bigger than that going on. You have the potential here to create an oath with your party that will not only give you an unbreakable bond, but could give you the power that you need to face what you're about to go face down in the depths of the South.
Yeah, Atticus, like, it's full, like, numbers are adding up, and, like, words are in, like, Valiant Flame plus Quiet Flower, and it's, like, all just, like,
it's all like, coming together.
It's like all made sense. Like, it's all, like, Atticus is almost like, man, you're dumb as hell, because he's like, because it's like, it's been there all along. Like, it's been there. So yeah, Atticus, knowing that, like, I feel like he just knows he has to, like, wait here until everyone's gone through their trial, so we can all make a pledge together in this space.
Well, you know, one other thing. So you're kind of like standing right outside your corridor, right, that you have to walk through, and you know there's one more part after this, which is usually where the knighting ceremony takes place. In this moment, you realize there's a reason the corridor there is for you, because if you're going to walk through, this is but this is not becoming a Knight of the Phoenix again. This is a completely different and potentially far more powerful oath that you would also be about to undertake again. And you realize that the corridor is here because you also must face another trial.
So I need to make a vow, an oath.
If you choose, if you choose to undergo this trial.
Yeah. So I have to go through the trial first to do it. Okay. Yeah. Atticus takes that all in and knows there's an oath and that there's one last trial ahead for him. He starts to walk down towards the final trial to enact an oath, to enact the oath. And while thinking all these like grand things, for some reason he keeps thinking about the last firefly he saw and the wish that he made for all his compatriots back then. And he kind of holds that tight and goes into the trial, his trial.
As you enter, you hear Cletus's voice echoing behind you. Hey, I'll be right there, just a few steps behind you, Atticus.
Atticus just gives a thumbs up, like a Top Gun, Maverick to Goose type situation.
Okay. Atticus. You've done the trials before. You can tell me, you don't have to add a lot of detail to it if you don't want to. The first time that Atticus encountered the trials to become a Knight of the Phoenix, what did Atticus go through?
I said it earlier in session. Atticus fought his father in his trial.
Oh, that's right.
Was
you
his
did.
Father,
Yep.
His father saying like he wasn't. It was like during this time, Atticus's father was his favorite person on earth, and it was like a trial of him one-on-oneing his father, and like his father saying he wasn't good enough.
As you begin to step through this place, actually, before I start this, I should say, since we've kind of like all got like everyone's got their little thing to go through before we get to the rest of the session, everyone's got their little. I might, if everyone's good with it, just kind of skip the break for tonight, and then everyone can kind of take their own breaks, and I just won't take one, and we'll just play through. That way we can get through these. Does that sound good to everyone else? Just skip breaks, and then everyone take them on. Okay, cool. Then we're gonna punch right on through and go through yours. Atticus, you're stepping down the corridor. You might think that you already know what to expect. And sure enough, there are things that don't disappoint. Beneath your feet, the stone of the cavern begins to turn to soft, long grass. You feel the squelch of mud. And as you enter into a much larger space, you are on the grounds of the manor. It's nighttime. You are looking out, and you see the manor isn't standing. Smoke still rises from the ground, and the foundational columns stand. Everything else is nothing but ash and shattered brick. and you see your father kneeling in the grounds in front of the manor. Holding in his arms a charred skeleton with a familiar sword planted in the ground beside it. What do you do?
Atticus walks in and sees all this and is just... He goes, "Really? You again?"
I mean... You know perfectly well this isn't me. It's all just in your head. So this is it, huh? Your worst moment?
More like the catalyst of learning everything that I thought you stood for was just a fairy tale, just a dream.
Well, all fairy tales are born in truth, boy. Truth be told, this was probably one of my worst moments too. Can I tell you about another terrible moment that I recall in my long and storied life?
You know, I can't say no to your stories, Pa.
For a long time after I lost your mother, I thought I lost you too. I looked through the ashes of that manor for days. Couldn't even find your skeleton. Imagine that. Just sort through ash and soot. My wife unburied. Just a ghost in the lawn looking at me. So I left. What else did I have? Eternal life. Didn't mean much when it cost me everyone that I loved. That was a terrible moment. You want to know a worse one? There I was, sitting alone at the edge of the world, on a bed of coals. And this stranger comes up to me out of nowhere. Blue-skinned fella, some kind of elf. Pretty strange, because not many travelers make it to the edge of the world. So I figured, why not have a conversation with him? Been years since I talked to another living being. And wouldn't you know it, in all the tales of his goings-on, he mentions some stories he's heard of a man they call the Last Phoenix. Atticus, he said his name was. And I realized I left you, you were alive. And I'd spent the last however many 100 years feeling sorry for myself. And letting my boy live out his life alone. I'd say that was one of my least favorite moments. I'll leave you now. You can take a moment with your mother.
And
Wait, Pa. I know that you have made decisions that in your life that you thought were right, or at least right at the time. I know you... Look, I know that you just thought you were doing what's right by your family and right by your kin, and I know time for us is a blink and gone, but some things stick around past those blinks, and I don't hate you for doing what you did, or I don't even dislike you. I don't even hate you for trying to kill me in Amagos that time back. But if you truly feel sorry for yourself and you truly don't want that pain anymore, then you know what you have to do, and it's not being the feared mirror knight. It's being a fucking phoenix, and you know what that means. Regardless of all you've done, I still love you, Pa. I forgive you.
Well, guess that makes one of us. I suppose I'll be seeing you.
Guess so.
And Atticus, you are left there alone. The remains of Phoenix Manor in front of you, your mother's skeleton there on the ground. The sword planted next to her.
Atticus just says the thing that he was told by his mom, and as a child, and lets her finish it off.
Yeah, you rise up. You know within you, Atticus. No fight this time. No other horrors awaiting. You realize you're not holding your sword because it is the one planted there in the ground next to your mother, and it still burns with the fire.
Yeah. Atticus remembers those words about the sword, not only from being a child, but also from retrieving it from the gullet of a giant snake, earthworm, if you will, and remembers all of those things, and while he's kneeling down to pull the sword out, he kind of puts his hand on his mother's cheek and just says, till the end of the line, Ma, I'm gonna do you proud. And he's gonna pull the sword out. And yeah.
You pull the sword out, and Atticus, you leave the manor behind you and step out into the final space, the chamber where you now know is where the oath is meant to be made. A shrine of old. Roll. There's actually only 2 more rolls here because
once like kind of the moment is over, George comes over and kind of, I mean, it's the same motion as if you're putting your hand or your arm on someone else's shoulder, but it's just on Atticus's calf. And George is like, yes, it's father stuff. It's I know how that can be. They can be kind of dicks about everything. But I know sometimes that the thing that you most have to do is just go out and find your own way in the world and figure out how it is to show them that you're not them. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, look, dads are a pain in the ass sometimes, and it's hard escaping their shadow. I think we do a lot of things in spite of our fathers or to prove them wrong. I just think my dad lost himself on the way. I think I'm living how he wants me to truly live.
Well, I know if he had kept himself, he'd probably be pretty proud of you.
Thanks, George. I appreciate that. Were you illuminated by the trial?
No, I just was taking notes over there. I was eating some apples. Do you want an apple?
That sounds great. Actually, I'm fucking hungry. I skipped dinner.
Atticus, give me a perception check real quick.
$17.
You look behind. Back in the mouth of the corridor, you can't quite see the manor anymore, but there's still that grassy valley as things are starting to fade in the trial that took place behind you. You do see a mule standing there in the opening of the corridor. And next to that mule, just a still body lying in the grass.
Yeah, Atticus is definitely going to go over there and investigate it and see what like.
I think as you start to walk over towards it, like you get that one little glimpse and then it's gone.
What the? Yeah, Atticus ponders that. He didn't see who it was, or he's trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah. I mean, Cletus is there with you too. Cletus looks pretty harrowed right now.
Did you see that?
Atticus, I saw a lot of things down there. I mean, Atticus, I did die. I died and I fell when the church in St. Florian collapsed, when I guess your father fought us. I died. I fell into the chambers underneath that church and I was buried. And I remember what it was like to die. Whatever way Akram pulled me back into this world, it wasn't pleasant, Atticus. There was no green path, no door with blue sky on the other side. The way he pulled me back. I don't know. Kicking and screaming. Some dark void. We're here. Let's see it through.
Atticus pats Leadus on the back and ventures forth.
The next, I had rolled a 2 for Bert, so Bert is doing his trials. That leaves us with only Vox, Perrin, and Fauna to go. That is a 3, which is Fauna, and actually, Perrin and Fauna, you are both walking in individual corridors. However, Perrin and Fauna, your trials occur together. As you are walking your paths, again, like everyone else, beneath your feet, the stone of the space changes. It's the soft, mossy ground of the Evewood. And as you walk this path, the smells come back to you. Cedar, pine, a forest alive with magic and mundane, all woven together. You find yourself walking next to each other on this path through the Evewood.
Are you the same Fauna that I started with, or are you like a different one?
I think I'm the same one. Are you the same one?
Probably. Yeah, that seems right.
Okay. Where are we?
Oh, this is the Evewood.
No,
You
but
see,
I
this
mean,
is
like,
that.
we're in a cave or something, right?
Oh, yeah, you'll get used to this. This is nothing. It's the deserts that really get to you.
What?
Without saying a word, Perrin Amos flits off, begins flying ahead of you, as she's accustomed to do, through the trees, circling back every now and then. The cat walking in front of you. Fun, actually, and give me a perception check real quick on the cat, Fauna.
21.
A lot has been happening since you took that, well, I shouldn't say took them over, since that transformation happened and then you turned back. And for a time, the cat had been missing before returning to you at the edges of the Unbroken Green. Looking at the cat, just kind of doing his thing, running ahead, finding an insect, pouncing on a beam of light that catches through the trees. You notice something as his tail twitches. At first you think maybe your eyes are just a little fuzzy and adjusting to the light of the woods after apparently coming out of the cavern. But then you catch it, going in a different direction just for a second before it catches to the other tail. A second tail. As the two, almost like a shadow of the other one. Continuing to walk this path, both of you realize pretty quickly, you know these woods well, you know the direction that you are heading. You're headed towards the tree. the day you both lost Flora. And Perrin, even now, you smell it in the air. The Wallachria. Its sharp scent used to mark its territory. And the Evewood is thick with it.
Perrin... It's gentle, but Perrin starts to chuckle. And he kind of looks over at Fauna as if, like, to find out if she, like, feels the same joke that he feels. This is it. This is all they got. This is what I'm most afraid of, the thing I face every single day, that I'm constantly living with. This is the worst it has to throw at me.
I mean,
I got this.
I wouldn't tempt it by saying that.
Yeah, what else is it gonna throw at me? Balak? My life has already been the worst that it could be. My worst fear is that maybe I might be happy for a little bit and I have to, like, let go of some of my fears constantly. Oh man, this is great. This is the best thing it could have been. Like, one tear runs down Perrin's face.
Maybe this is my worst fear and not yours.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm here. I'm with you. I got you.
What are we supposed to do?
Well, I mean, if this is a cruel thing, then it's gonna make me watch you turn into the Wallachria. Like, but also I just did that, like, 3 weeks ago. So, like, I don't know. I guess let's find out.
Fauna walks up to the tree and, like, puts her hand on it.
You walk up to the tree and put your hand on it. Fauna, what you see in the next moment is a door opening up in the tree, similar to the same one that opened the day, whatever that magic was that came through that affected you and Flora. Except this time on the other side of the door, you look through, you see the Feywilds beyond, something that you have only the ghost of a memory of. Wild, towering trees with, like, almost fungal or mossy platforms that encircle around them, but these trees are, some of them, tower thousands of feet high. Strange landscapes, water that runs a deep and at the same time translucent purple. And on the other side of that door, smiling back at you, you see a woman that you know immediately because she looks a lot like you. Flora, grown up. Horns, same as you. Skin, kind of a shade of green, unlike yours. Hair darker, but still that auburn shade. Smiling back at you. And next to her, you see the woman that approached you on the path. You see the woman who named herself your mother. Dark green skin, powerful shoulders, dressed still almost for battle, but over top of the armor is this beautiful, flowing, flowery cloak that billows out, and those black pronged antlers, very prominent. Both of them smiling at you from the other side. And Flora looks at you. Sister, join us.
Fauna starts to take a step towards the door. And then... Wait, is Perrin also seeing this or just me?
I will say this. So, Fauna, as you take a step towards the door, Perrin, you see something different. As the door in the tree opens, on the other side, you see first one, then two familiar, large, three-fingered, like things that are almost this combination of both hooves and hands come out. First one, two, then three, four, and then a large antlered head with its bright sets of yellow eyes, and it's sort of that long, protruding, almost bird-like rib cage and the serpentine neck, as the enormous form of the Wallachria. Like, the door is much larger right now in order to make way for this, because, you know, the Wallachria towers, like, it's a good 30 feet tall. It is a pretty formidable beast. As it comes out, you see it beginning to lower, like, its hand down to pick up Fauna, and opens the sharp edges of its jaws to what appears to be like about to devour Fauna whole.
I think Perrin just shouts out, like, he puts a lot of command in his voice, and he just says, "Hey!" And he's trying to see if he has its attention.
Fauna appears to be in a trance in this thing's hand, but it looks to you.
I don't know if the actual you can hear me. I don't know what this is, really, if it is you. But I love you. And I'm gonna find you. And I'm gonna help you any way I can. I'm not afraid anymore. Perrin's like trembling a little bit in his fingers, but even as he says it, he's like, no, I believe that. I'm not afraid anymore of my failure.
You see the Wallachria sets Fauna down on the ground. And as it begins to bring its full body out of the door, changing into a form far less imposing, you see a woman standing before you. Dark green skin, dressed for battle, but with a regal floral cape that actually, her dress reminds you a lot of Oricastris. Black antlers sprout from her head. She gives you a small smile. And reaches down, gives the fawn that you see a kiss on her forehead, and then disappears. Fauna, you took a step forward. What happens after?
I think Fauna would be aware enough to know that, I mean, she knows what they're doing, like what, so she knows that it might be, I don't know if trap is the right word, but, something not as positive as it appears to be, but I think she just doesn't care because she wants to know if she can learn anything about her family from this experience, like she's willing to take the risk, so she steps through the door.
You step through the door. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Dirty 20.
Okay. On a 20, I'm going to allow it's not as bad as the time before. But as you step through the door into what you saw as the Feywild, Fauna, immediately, your mother and sister melt into the space on the other side of this door, and you are standing there on a naked cliff, just bare black rock. Beneath you, the ocean. You can kind of like see jagged hills cut in front of you. It's night. And in this space, you look down and you see a dagger with intricate flower and ivy like carved into what appears to almost be this dark wooden handle. But the dagger is plunged into your heart. And you feel, again, that familiar, the horns growing, the claws extend. You feel your jaw grow stronger and clench. But you retain control. And you're welcome to, in this space, give me an Arcana check.
Well, I have to find the right. I rolled a 4, but I'm going to use my bardic inspiration that Perrin gave me.
Okay.
Okay, so 16.
On a 16, you know, your body is transferred. It's not quite as bestial as it was the last time this happened, but it is significantly changed from how it was moments ago. You also look down and see that your skin is taken on a bit of a green shade to it. You feel the dagger, and you know two things. One, this is a curse, obviously. Whatever you're looking at here in this space, you can't tell where you are. You've never been here before. But whatever happened, it happened here. If it's in your blood, whoever it started with, it started here, wherever this is. And it started with this dagger. You see like the dagger embedded, like kind of clatters out now onto the stone below you, and slowly, not spurting, but just slowly start, like dark green blood just starts to drip down your front. The second thing you know, the reason that you can't do anything about your own curse doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it's your curse. In order to break this curse, you must return to the place where the curse originates. And you realize in an instant that it is not of this realm. The curse belongs to the Feywilds. And if you're ever going to do anything about what is affecting you, what happened to Flora, and learn more about your mother, it'll be in the Feywilds. And you're pulled back through the door. You're back in the Evewood, standing there with Perrin now, and it's just the two of you in the Evewood, and you see the path continues, and at the far end of the path it appears to leave the forest and enter into a large cavern beyond.
You okay?
I think, yeah, yeah. I saw. I saw this dagger. I think it is the source of what happened to me and Flora and our family. It's in the Feywild, but I think we have to go there or I'm never gonna be able to fix this.
Fuck.
She gestures to herself and they...
Right. And first of all, you're beautiful and you don't need fixed. Don't listen to what other people say about you. But
I meant more like, you know, the turning into a wild beastie,
right.
Not so much like
yeah.
horns right now.
That's fair. Does that knife, that dagger, ring a bell to Perrin?
Ooh,
I describe it more to him.
Yeah, make
like
me a history check.
Just 12.
Doesn't ring a bell. It sounds like... obviously the way that Fauna's describing it and what the sense that she just like you are also going to be able to corroborate. Yeah, that sounds like Fey in origin.
Also, I didn't have a chance to talk to you about this, but back when I ran off, I somehow accidentally went to the Feywild. I'm not really sure. And I saw my mother there. Do you know her?
No, I was heavily mind controlled at the time, so I don't. No, definitely not. And if Perrin does know, he's not gonna admit it.
Fauna's like
you
a little suspicious, but she's just gonna let it go.
Okay, okay, because we can do a contested check.
No, I think like she doesn't want to push Perrin too hard because like there's just a lot going on with him and her and both of them, and but she's gonna say, well, she's there, so I need to go back.
Okay. Yeah. You know, my dad told me I would die if I went back, but I'm starting to think he might have been full of shit. So we should probably go back and fix things.
I mean,
he also had me kidnap you.
Right. But also, I don't know if I want to take the risk. I mean, maybe you should stay here.
Well, I mean, when your dad says you'll die if you come back here, that loses meaning by like the 5th or 6th time that you die, and then by like the 40th or 50th, you're like welcoming sweet release, and so like I'm not too stressed about it.
Well, I'm stressed about it.
Right, but I want to help you. Like that's kind of the impasse we're at.
Right, but I don't want you to die, so.
All right. Well then, we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll have my friend Darren go with you. He's looks like me with a mustache.
Oh, great.
Maybe yours could go.
Yeah, I really don't like that guy. It makes me uncomfortable. All right, I think we're okay. We should go through here.
What did you see?
Nothing. Just that I'm proud of you. And I know that sometimes I don't tell you, but I believe in you and I think you make good decisions. And I don't think that I need to tell you what to do. And I'm sorry that I do it sometimes, but I'm really proud of you.
Fauna still doesn't believe the part about him not saying anything, but she's gonna let it go again because he is being sweet. And so she just gives him a hug.
Yeah.
Perrin hugs back.
All right.
Roll for hug.
Roll for hug.
13.
I guess I don't. 13.
14.
Pretty good hug.
Had to one up
you
'em.
both, yeah, you both match each other pretty equally, but Fauna holds on a little bit longer. I don't know why I rolled it. I don't need to roll that. It takes us to our last trial, which is Vox. Vox, you are walking down the path like everyone else. Stone beneath your feet begins to change. At first, it's the familiar sand of the space just outside Asparia. And in the background, you can almost hear your pursuers. You smell the musk of horse flesh, and it feels like the moment that you were fleeing after stealing the blue mare and then having it be pinned on Romania. And then a lot of these like there's nothing here other than like the feeling of the sand beneath your feet and that smell in the air. But a flood of nostalgia begins to go through you of all the times growing up that you would steal something, maybe to get by, or maybe because you were curious, or maybe just even out of spite against someone that had wronged you. But there's that little kick of fear, of adrenaline, of someone always being right on your heels, chasing you down, threatening harm, threatening death. And at the end of this path, you arrive to see a familiar house on the outskirts of Asparia. And it is not on fire yet, but it is night, and you see the door wide open, bodies littering the floor just outside the door where the light spills onto them. And inside the house you can see movement. What do you do?
Fox would definitely rush in. And rush in with like sword out ready.
You rush in. A sight that you now, after your memories having been returned, remember all too well. Bodies on the floor, men sent by who you now know to be your uncle to deliver you and your mother to him. But they failed. They failed because Theon and your father, Taryn, were there to fight. But you see the body of your father splayed out on the floor. You don't see your mother kneeling there. You don't see Theon by the body of his brother. What you do see in this room, sitting by the fireside, rocking back and forth in what was once your father's chair, the face of Balak. Calmer than you remember it. Sad, but not as contorted, not as grotesque. The eyes, the hair like limp and white, short and swept to the side. You see a frail, old, broken man sitting on a chair who looks up at you when you come in. Oh. You're here.
What have you done?
I don't. I suppose I've already done it, haven't I? No. No one doing it now.
This act you have, you're not fooling me. You killed him.
I did. Killed a lot of people.
For what? For this? And Vox is gonna hold up her hand and take one of the daggers and slice open her hand.
Balak looks at the hand, looks at the blood. There was a time. There was a time that I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I dreamed of finding the secrets that blood holds. I don't know. That time is gone. And I can't remember why it was ever there. I'm just left with all this. The memories of everyone I hurt to get it. Balak is going to get down out of the chair, kneel in front of the fireplace, open up his shirt to expose his heart, and look up at you. Please. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to remember.
No. You broke my family. You don't get mercy.
Please.
Tore us apart. He's dead.
Well, if you won't do it. And Balak is going to reach into the fire without flinching, grab one of the burning logs, and set it on the floor in front of him. Pretty quickly, his clothes start to catch fire. He looks up at you. Kid.
I've waited to see this.
pretty quickly, the rest of the house starts to catch fire. So you have to leave. Even in whatever this is that you're experiencing, you can still feel the heat of the flames.
I think that Vox would turn and still grab her father, just like she did before, and drag him out.
You drag your father out. Still silent now, but Balak's screams echoing in your mind as you start to hear the house collapse in on itself behind you. And you look into the eyes of your father. Give me a perception check.
"15."
On a 15, you look into them. He's been dead now for, he's been dead now for years, but in this moment, in this memory, in this space, still probably over an hour. Glassy and unresponsive. You catch a reflection in them. The same sort of figure that you saw in the mirror, in the manor, is much smaller now, reflected in the pools of your father's eyes, but the figure, a mask over their face, dark robe, and those hollow eyes looking out at you from the eyes.
In him? You reflect in him?
Oh, You'll have to forgive me. I'm just keeping an eye on you. It's so curious. Different.
Mean.
Different than all the others.
Growing so tired of your riddles. You make no sense.
Oh, I don't mean to make no sense. It's just last time we met I was a bit busy, but I'm not as busy now. I'm very focused. Before, you didn't give me a name. That's fine. I don't need one. But it might be helpful. It might be helpful for you. Just so you don't feel like I'm such a mystery. You can call me the Crownless King.
Crownless King.
King without a crown.
And what?
Crownless King.
What is it you want? Why are you showing yourself to me again?
I told you because you're so interesting. You're curious like I am. Complex. You won't take the revenge that you want, but you'll allow it to happen. How does it feel right now?
Watch him burn?
Yes. I want you to tell me how it felt.
The most satisfying thing I've watched so far.
Oh, good. Well, I suppose you've got a trial to finish, an oath to take. I'll be seeing you.
Fox looks around confused because she definitely thought that was the trial.
Vox, you look around. You do see in this moment that Brightburn is not strapped to your side, but instead there, waiting patiently, watching you just, about a foot away, is a large greyhound. Just kind of panting and looking at you.
Wasn't expecting to see you like this again.
No words, but the greyhound does, approach and kind of, nose into your hand and then give you a couple licks.
Fox would just stroke her hand down its back and, kind of scratch behind the ears.
Vox, you look up at the kind of the far end in the darkness. You do see what looks to be an opening to a cavern.
He just whistles for the dog and follows through the door of the cavern.
And Brightburn pads out right after you. That is our last corridor. You have all now come back together here in this space. Welcome to the end of the grotto. Atticus, you've been waiting. Kind of everyone arrives around the same time. Bert arrives, kind of real worked up.
Oh, man, I was so scared, but I did it. There was this big old... It was like this giant bird, like a big old heron, and he was chasing me through the swamp, and I was just a little guy again, and I was hopping along, and I couldn't. He was so close, and the beak kept snapping, and it kept snapping, and you know what I did? I got to my last pond, and you know what? I turned around, and I faced down that heron, and I got him.
And you see Bert is just holds up the head of a heron that he has.
Good job, Bert.
Holy
Are
shit.
we supposed to bring something back?
Gosh.
Does anyone have anything that rhymes with spooky shit? And Perrin has paper and he's writing notes down.
Clever wit.
Right. I'll work with that.
Okay.
Yeah, you are all in this space. Atticus, it's up to you you can go forward with the knighting ceremony. You can make it look different, but you know now what is capable of happening here.
Yeah. Atticus kind of looks at everybody and has a reassuring smile on his face. Everyone made it through the trial unscathed. Hey y'all, I want to show you something real quick before we get out of here. And he's going to walk up to that totem thing. What was the name of it?
Oh, you were in the actually, you know what? I don't even think I made the hold on, let me look at the stream because I don't think I
Brandon.
Brandon. Are you talking about because this is called the it's an oath shrine is what it is. Yeah. There's essentially just a large platform. There's no figures on it or anything. You can't, the platform itself is ancient. There we go. That's the right one. But yeah, there's no big totem or anything, but it does, it just looks like an altar in this, it's falling apart. Oh, actually, you know what? Make me a little perception check real quick. I forgot I do have a couple little things here.
14 on perception.
Okay. On a 14, you're looking at this space. Like I said, it is essentially just what looks to be an ancient little shrine here. There's an archway above this large raised platform. And kind of these spaces, these very low cliffs that almost like a viewing, like a spot that somebody could witness something from, like a little raised section that goes around the platform. But it is a truly massive cavern. You know, it extends far to the, like in every direction. The ceiling itself is enough to contain the massive arch that is over top of the platform. But there is an inscription you see written across the platform, carved into the stone in primordial. And Atticus translated, it just says, "Here gathered the hearts of those who hold the world."
Atticus says that out loud. As he translates it, and he looks at the party and says, "I know probably what y'all facing there wasn't maybe exactly what you expected, but was what you needed to face. I've been on a little journey of myself over the past couple days, weeks, and not just physical with y'all, but something more than that. I have learned a lot of how the pieces fit together in this world and with us and what I am. It started with the sounds weird, but I communed with our colossal snake fella back in before the Unbroken Green, and I learned a lot about myself, and one being, how do I phrase this? This was a long time ago, but did y'all ever hear about the courts? Do you know?
While Atticus is talking, by the way, you're just like setting candles out and laying out graphite and ash and like hanging stuff on the walls and shit.
Y'all know about like the Court of Flames and flowers and tides and the city of Ord? What was that, Nix?
The Court of Night.
Yeah.
Yes, I know about the courts. I was alive when they were.
It was a little bit before my time, but Fox, Perrin, Fauna, are you familiar with the courts?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some stories.
You know, flame is a big thing within my family. Phoenix rising from the ashes, all that. And I always thought it was just kind of like a story and just kind of like a mantra my family lives by. But this sounds crazy, but I'm the last descendant of the Court of Valiant Flame. And I'm not the only descendant of the courts here. We, regardless of us being a group all that time ago, going through a castle that had a desert on the 4th floor and meeting a suspicious frog in a child's tale land, this all wasn't by accident. Our fates, I sound like a crazy person, man. Our fates are all threaded together. And he's gonna look at Nyx and say, Court of Guarding Night. Perrin was Hope, right?
Perrin is Court of
No.
Rising Tides.
Okay. Atticus is gonna look at Perrin and say, Court of Rising Tides. Hope was Vox, right? That was the one. That was, yeah.
Court of Timeless Hope.
I'm gonna look at Vox and say, Court of Timeless Hope. And then at Fauna and Court of Quiet Flowers. We're the last line of the courts of old. And I don't think it was a coincidence we all joined. It can't be. It can't. It's fate. It has to be fate. Like, there's no other way, other explanation. We didn't all just meet by happenstance.
I really fucking hate it when people tell me that shit.
I mean, you're telling me, brother, I have lived my whole life basically living out someone's destiny, or a destiny laid before me, but we're supposed to be together in this place. We can do good by bringing back the courts of old into the new. At this altar right here.
Atticus, give me an Arcana check really quick.
25.
You're saying this, you look over at Bert and you realize something. Yes, you can take an oath here. Yes, it matters that there is a member, like a descendant of every court member here. But these places, this oath shrine, it wasn't just created to let court members bond them. It was created, like, it's what created the courts in the first place. It's how anyone made anything of it, how they acquired that power to wield to attack or protect. You look at Bert. Knowing Bert's full story now, yes, like the guardian of your son's soul and harboring within himself, but also a being created entirely from the magic of the Unbroken Green. Here in this place, you can not only bond yourselves together all with an oath, you can also create a new court and a new head of that court. The Court of the Unbroken Green is represented here perfectly in Bert.
As Atticus is like kind of rambling like a madman, you see his eyes like widen at this revelation that he's coming through, and he looks at Bert. Court of the Unbroken Green.
Who, me?
You are the living embodiment of the magic that is this land.
Wow.
He drops the heron head.
Wow. That seems like a lot of responsibility for me, I guess.
Well, not to take any of your moment, Bert, but Cletus is also now inexorably tied to the Unbroken Green. Maybe he could support you in that court.
Cletus doesn't say a word. He just walks over to Bert's side and kneels down next to him. So he's still a good couple feet above Bert after the kneeling down, but he's He's getting down as close as he can. And he's going to take out his sword and lay it on the ground in front of him.
Plus, you can't really fuck up too bad because, like, the whole previous court all died. So, like, you know, the bar's pretty low.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, who knows? I might turn back into a frog after this whole ritual's done anyway, you know? Make an oath, get, like, I guess, become the head of a new court and get a soul pulled out of my body. It's all in a day's work, right? It's part of being a knight.
It's a big day for you.
Okay.
Big day for you, bud.
Yeah, you all just keep on doing what you're doing. I'll be finished here in a second, and then we can just bing bang boom it.
Yeah, Atticus looks at everyone and is like, I know I sound crazy, but I see the threads.
I don't think you sound crazy, Atticus. In my coven, we had an elder witch that could not see the future, but see things that may come to pass. And I didn't realize that it was this at the time, but she did have a prophecy about the court's return. Maybe this is it.
I don't give two shits for fate, but you all have my everything. So if you're doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I definitely think you sound crazy. But I told you I'd follow you, and so I'll believe you.
Yeah, Atticus is gonna step up onto this shrine and invite everyone to join him.
Okay. You step
Nyx
up.
holds back.
Yeah. Oh.
I can't, Atticus. I can't take the oath with you.
Why
I failed
is
my
that?
test. I wasn't shown my deepest fear. I was just shown another moment where I could do nothing but fucking stand and watch. Another horror done because I wasn't strong enough to stop it. Another horror done because of who I am, of what I am, and what everyone wants of me.
Nyx.
It's all...
Do you know what happens?
It's all the fucking same.
Nyx, I don't know what you went through, but I've seen what happens to people that fail their tests, and
Everyone around me dies, Atticus. Everything gets stripped away, and all I can do is bear it and forget it and sit in fucking silence and give and give and give while everyone around me takes. And even then, what I have to give is never enough, and I still fail. I'm still stuck here while people die, and at the end of it all, everyone forgets. They always forget. I forget. And all that's left is emptiness. The kind where you wonder what the fucking point of it all is, and if you're even here at all.
Well, I don't mean to sound dismissive, but you silly fucking goose, that's all of us. That's exactly why I don't really like that he's saying any of this shit, but I also kind of believe him. Because I think we're all a little bit the same there, and we're all a little bit different there. But I think it's okay, and I think that means you are facing it.
people don't walk out of the trials if they failed at Nyx. That's... I don't know what you went through in there, but I can tell you that I told you this after I was bleeding out in a chapel in a little dusty town, that to pay your oath, to me, you had to get rid of the one person you maybe didn't want to at the time, but honestly, after the hoedown in the Unbroken Green, debt paid. And if you can't see that, like parents saying, you're being a silly fucking goose then.
Nyx, the thing about fate is that you still have to choose it. It only is your fate in that it's the path that stands before you, but you have to choose it. You have to decide your fate. And walking away from this, I mean, it's your decision, but we need you. We need you with us. And you can choose for this not to be your fate. But you're also choosing for us not to be your fate. And wherever this goes, we want to go there together.
Nyx is going to pause when Atticus mentions the hoedown in the Unbroken Green. Because their deepest fear isn't the Obshiriellen. It's not losing people again. They've lost everyone. Their deepest fear is that that's it. That's all they are. It's just a revolving door of death and delusions of grandeur, and that they are just a witness to the world around them and a tool to be used until everything is blunted off of them and they're just a void of a person that no one ever bothered to get to know beyond what they were and what they could do for others. And the one time that felt different was at the hoedown. And was with these people around them. It wasn't something that they needed to do for others, or a service to be given, or demanded of them, or fate. It was just, they could just exist as a person and as themselves, which is something that they never got the chance to get to know. And I think with that, they're going to look Atticus in the eyes and say, my debt's paid. I'm not doing this because I owe you.
Wait, you have a debt? Oh my god, I forgot about that.
They're asking him a question.
What was it? Sorry, you said the debt's paid?
You said my debt is paid.
Look, yeah. I mean, I told you to get rid of that thing you hate in yourself, and I saw no hate that night.
I'm with Perrin. Fuck fate.
Yeah.
Tired of...
I hate to say it, but I think we're all bound by it.
Tired of being used. I'm tired of being passive to the world around me and a witness. I want to make my own choices, regardless of who it affects. And right now I choose all of you.
All right, this whole moment is very beautiful and everything. The magic's actually working really well right now. So if you want to go ahead and do whatever oath you're doing, this is like perfect timing. So just go ahead and like get right into it.
Yeah. All of you see like next to yours. Just, I mean, do you want to describe what yours just got going right now as far as?
Yeah, there's like a wild amount of shit. Like everybody here knows any amount of magic. There's like 9 different schools of magic set up. There's like, he snaps his fingers and like 30 different candles turn blue, and like there's diagrams on the wall. There's languages you haven't seen. There's a giant circle he's drawn out on the floor. There's like burnt feathers and wax and ash and fingernail clippings and bone and all this kind of like overlapping stuff, and he's come up right next to everybody else in the center of the room.
Cletus is going to like take his sword, go up to stand in the section where like that witnessing area above. Look down at you all.
Well, I mean, George, care to be a witness with me? I think something important might be about to happen.
Yeah, right, sure.
Okay. As you step up onto the platform, Nyx, Bert's going to like kind of look up at you.
Hey, Nyx.
Yeah, Bert.
Maybe it's time to show everyone that crown you've been hiding.
Yeah, maybe it's time to stop hiding in general. Nyx is gonna pull their hood off. And you see their face. It's a face you've seen before. Same short, dark curly hair, half braided along the scalp. They are wearing a crown, a circlet. It's very simple in design and kind of woven into their hair across their forehead. But it catches the light and holds it inside itself. And there, underneath all that, is heavily mutilated ears. Looks like it was done with a blunt knife and to cut off whatever sign that they were an elf before. There is deep stretch marks and scars, almost looks like from too much gripping in the fetal position that they were in before. Just years and years of it. Kind of bruising that never goes away. There's layers and layers of smaller nicks all along their neck and their shoulders. Looks self-inflicted, done with shadow blade to keep track of time as it passes by how it heals. And the deepest and worst of them all is ear to ear. What was clearly a suicide attempt, and one that failed due to a protection spell by their fathers. So they tried to kill themselves inside the Loonstone with a shadow blade that they're own weaving. And most of them are healed. They seem old. Seem like there aren't any real recent ones that you need to worry about, but there are just years and years worth of them. But for perhaps the first time in all of the centuries that Nyx has been alive, they are standing tall with their heads straight and their hood off, and the light is actually hitting them in front of other people.
Let's fucking do this.
Atticus smiles at Nyx and says, "He is beautiful as the hoedown."
Fauna steps up next to Nyx and just takes Nyx's hand and just like in acknowledgement and companionship stands there ready for whatever they're about to do. And she, seeing Nyx's circlet, realizes that she has this thing in her bag that was given to her that she never really knew why or where it came from or what it was, but it's also like a little diadem with a pendant. She takes it out of her bag and puts it on.
Nyx is gonna squeeze Fauna's hand back and also reach out and grab Atticus's. Complete the circle, y'all.
Well,
Our powers
goddamn,
combined.
I guess we all look pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
What do we do? Do we spit on our hands?
I think we
Gross.
just declare ourselves as a new order. We're the last census of court, and it's made. I think Court of the Fatebound sounds pretty good.
Damn, that's real cool. I don't want to speak for the group, but if it's my court, we're making, I think I might have the words.
Speak them, Bert.
Okay.
We're listening and we're with you.
Well, from the green. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. From the green we are born, into the green we return. May it be ever unbroken.
And underneath his breath, he just says,
The fire never goes out.
the room begins to illuminate with a green light that reflects on even the farthest sections of the cavern. And as the purpose in this room expands, all of you can feel it. It's not just you anymore, Atticus. You all feel a power move through you as an oath is spoken and a bond is made. Over next to all your equipment, George, is like a lot of I guess not equipment, but your what's the word for your components, your spell components. All those things begin to vibrate in their own way, feeding those arcane courses to the place that they should go. In this space, a body of golden light begins to form up in the witness section next to where Cletus is, small, about the size of a young boy. I am going to, in this moment, make a charisma saving throw for Bert. In order for him to keep the current form that he is in, to not regress to just being like a magical but silent frog. I'll tell everyone right now that the DC for this is 25. With all of you there, Bert is making this throw with advantage. And should he fail the save and not get to 25, there are things that he still has that bardic. Yeah, he still has that bardic. There are also other things that you as members of this oath as well will be able to do to help him if he does not get to that 25.
Can I give guidance?
For sure you can give guidance. I'm going to roll the guidance and the bardic first. Your bardic's a D8, right, Perrin?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to make sure that the dice cam is on too, so that these rolls go on stream.
It was working earlier.
Okay,
I think
cool.
You're good.
Bardic first. I'm going to pull it back. That is a 3. Guidance, D4. Also a 3. Okay. Charisma save with advantage. Bert gets a +2 to this roll, which means that, let's see, 8 total. One of these die needs to be a 17 or higher for Bert to make this without some sort of additional help. One was a 3. The other one was a 16, which is leaving Bert 1 shy at a 24. I will tell all of you that in this moment, you see Bert fighting as things are being pulled out of him. They're like a lot of some of the like arcane symbology that George has created in this space. A lot of that is centering on Bert, not just because he is becoming a new member of the court, but because there's also a soul to separate from him before he becomes the head of this new court. Atlas's soul and the simulacrum that's being created for Atlas to be his new body function also as a witness along with Cletus. Anyone that wants to, I will tell you right now, you are able to lower the DC of Bert's check by 5, which only one person has to do it in order for him to succeed, because he's at a 24 right now. It will require some kind of a sacrifice.
I'll do it.
Fauna.
I feel like this is the wellspring moment.
What do you what do you sacrifice?
However many wellspring points you think this is worth.
What if Atticus holds up the phoenix feather he's been carrying for a very long time?
Ooh. Fine, it's up to you. You spoke first. If you want to take it on the wellspring points, you can, and I'll tell you the number of the roll. Or you can, like, as you are summoning this moment in yourself and you realize that Bert needs that extra push, and you know that you could dig deep into whatever this thing is in you and pull out that power, you see Atticus is also noticing that Bert needs it. Do you defer to Atticus, or do you do the wellspring rolls?
I feel like Atticus might need that feather later. Seems important. I'm gonna just, I think, do it. Unless, I don't know, I mean, I guess if Atticus like shoves me down or something.
No, I mean, you're mid ritual. You can pull into your magic and get it there before. Atticus takes an action.
I think it makes the most sense too, because if I'm like helping channel the ritual to begin with,
yeah,
for
sure.
Like if I'm helping yours with the magic part, I think it makes the most sense.
Yes. A lot of that power is coming from you too. You can dig deeper to do this. Let me look up the wellspring thing real quick. That's... Okay.
Unless counter option. What how would you say that like Bert's humanoid frog form is dying?
He would,
To
if
become
this
his
fails, he
regular
will just
frog
become a
form?
small frog. And might not even be able to talk anymore. Like he will revert to
Right.
the form that he was.
Dying.
Yeah, he's not dying.
Right.
He would just become a frog.
So you're saying Death Ward doesn't have any effect of this?
Death Ward does not have any effect.
Okay, then carry on.
Okay. Fauna, this is a powerful
Damn
thing
it, Perrin, back me up on
going
this.
on right here. I'm going to have you roll a D100, which is your two tens. If you don't have the one that's like the double digits and the single, then you can just roll it twice, and the first number will be your tens digit, and the second time you roll it will be your singles digit.
Is it this one?
Yep.
Okay, so I rolled this and what?
If you've got another one, you can roll them both at the same time. And it.
Oh, I just have this one.
Okay, then
I
roll
think.
that one first, and it'll determine your tens digit, and then the next one will really determine your. Or we'll do singles first, since 10 is the big roll. So this first roll is just like the single digit, and the second one is the 10.
Okay. Okay, it's 60.
Okay, so just a 6. Now roll it again to see what the tens is. 1 is just 10. Your 0 on there, I believe it is, counts as the. Actually, in this case, it would be you can't get 100 because you didn't get a 0. So your 0 would just make it 6.
Okay. So I want as low as possible, right?
Low as possible. So you want double zeros.
Do I get advantage from the cat?
Cat will give you advantage on this one.
Okay, the first roll was a 90, so I don't want that.
Oh, nope.
50.
Okay. Fauna, in this one, it is a costly sacrifice in this one moment, and we don't need to determine yet. When we do the next session, I'll give you the mystery thing on there. That puts you at 56 points on the wellspring, which is above the margin of the highest one. So it is all the previous effects listed under the wellspring thing, and then in addition, a mystery effect that I will send to you later after this session. Your body doesn't change. It's still like in that kind of that form that it was when you left the trials. So you are a little bit more, the look is a little bit more monstrous right now. But you're able to anchor Bert. In this moment, everyone give me a perception check.
16.
Natural 20.
19.
Okay.
I got 22.
Parents paying attention to Fauna.
Atticus. You see Fauna anchor Bert. You see Bert as light begins to leave him and travel to the form up in the witness stand near Cletus and George. the power in this place is not only forming a new court, it is creating an oath between all of you. What powers it will awaken, you don't know, but it is, at the very least, tying you together in a sacred and unbreakable way. And it is giving you back your son. Because in these moments you see the body of Atlas begin to form up in the space where the witnesses look down on you. On a natural 20 perception check, I'm going to give you something, and it is very limited information because it's all you would be able to truly perceive. But in this moment, you can see Bert's body and all the extra, there's the runes and components in this space you can see are focused on assisting Bert in creating that connection between the newly forming simulacrum and the soul, so it has a path to go. You look around, everything in place is perfect. This ritual is going exactly as it was supposed to. And then you notice something. In his hand, up in the witness stand, George holds what looks to just be like a chunk of raw, some kind of raw, clear ore. You had a nat 20 on perception check. You've seen it before. You know what this stuff is. It looks like unprocessed night glass, like just a big chunk of it that George is holding. And you see around George's edges, he's just witnessed, he's looking on like everything is going according to plan. The light in this space, though, doesn't seem to be shining off George the way that it should be. It's almost vacuous as it approaches him. And in this moment, you can tell that even though everything here, everything with your oath, everything with Atlas, is going the way that it should be going. Everything here, it's a nat 20 perception check. Everything here is good to go. Everything that you planned on happening is going to happen exactly the way that it needed to. But there is something else happening. In order to stop it, you would have to break the ritual and the binding oath that is happening here in this place, and you're not sure if you would be able to do it again. You would lose Atlas, you would lose the bond. Do you take action?
As soon as Atticus sees that, he yells at Cletus, because Cletus is up there, and he's just gonna yell, "Restrain George." I feel like that's all he could get out in that moment if he's still in this thing.
As soon as he directs attention to Cletus and says that, magic circle erupts around Cletus.
Ooh, magic circles, you can't leave it, right?
10-foot radius cylinder of magical energy with glowing runes on it, and undead cannot pass through it.
Okay. Everyone's good with the fact that we're going a little late in session, right?
Yeah, doesn't that take a certain amount of time to
It does, which George had all that time. Yep, okay. It was one of the things prepared.
Fuck you.
I will. So, Cletus goes to try and just slams up, and then turns to look at you.
Can I counter spell that?
No, because it's already a ritual. It's already in place, so it can't. It would have to happen upon the cat. I don't think it. None of you. Atticus is the only one who can even take an action right now with that nat 20 of perception. Everyone else is fully engrossed in that. I don't even think any of you would hear Atticus shout that to Cletus. There's a lot going on in this room right now. And what's happening over here is very subtle. It was such a shockingly high DC to hit that the only way you could have hit, there was a lot of other things you could have seen. The only way you could have seen this was by hitting a nat 20, which is truly shocking that happened. Cletus can't even Atticus, you see it's almost like hands up on the glass, but it's invisible. There's no visible glass there. As Cletus looks at you, that's what you shout. The oath finishes. You see Atticus, the full formed body of Atlas. Atlas is standing right next to Cletus, so technically Atlas is in the magic circle too. Atlas, the body now fully formed though, just goes limp, and you see Cletus catch it and holding it in his arms. He's just there, kneeled down, holding Atlas. Your son is fine. Bert is still in his body. The oath resonates throughout the space. And it's finished. And what follows is silence. And in this silence, George, I need you to give me a Constitution saving throw.
$16.
Okay. The DC of this particular save was 21. Failing it by more than 5. George, you see this go off net. You see Cletus take a step and then stop on the glass. You heard the shout. You don't understand. You don't remember putting magic circle there. And you look down in your hand, you're holding the same component that you put near Bert. It's just...
Wait, what did you do?
A heart.
Why did you do this?
Cleaved in half.
What's your game?
What do you mean? It worked. You saved your boy.
What's in your hand?
I don't know.
George, on that 16, something in you, something's wrong. A coldness spreads up from your heart through your throat. And almost like a hand, all of you see first one finger and then another as two dark black fingers reach out of George's mouth and pull at the jaw. It snaps open. George, you're all of a sudden, you begin to get drawn up into the air. You are suspended. Another finger, another snap coming out of your nostril. There's now two whole hands emerging from various orifices on your face, and they are grasping your head, lifting you up higher and higher. Oh, you wonderful, wonderful boy. Thank you. You did such a good job. Now, I wonder, what kind of a reward should a beautiful boy like you get? It's got to be something better than your brother, right? No mule here. I tell you what. I'll let you decide. Seems like a good enough reward. Tell me, George. What is the better kind of puppet. One with strings still attached, or one where the strings have been cut.
I think George says something that no one else can understand.
Yeah. Very well. It's done. All of you see, almost folding in on itself, and then into darkness, George's body just vanishes. Gone. In George's place stands a figure. Simple, dark robe descends down to their ankles. The head, however, exposed, but formless, featureless, just a void black looking out at all of you. But within that void are two bright, shining eyes. Vox, you see the figure take something from their cloak and toss it towards you. A porcelain mask with hollow eyes and smiling lips just kind of clatters to your feet.
It's the crownless king.
Oh. As a name, yes, I do like it. I do like it. That one sounds good coming out of someone else's mouth. Wow.
Who the fuck are you? What did you do with Maury?
Who?
What are you here?
Oh, I'm here now, thanks to all of you. Beautiful, beautiful what you did here. Let me see, how many courts do I count? Well, we have the Court of Valiant Flame, the Court of Quiet Flowers, the Court of Rising Tides, the Court of Timeless Hope. Interesting, very interesting. Oh, and let's not forget you, the prime to the Court of Guarding Night. Oh, I'm so glad.
Fuck you.
Here. And, oh, I counted 5. I'm sorry, I miscounted. 7. The Court of the Unbroken Green. But where's the 7th? Oh, no, that's right. It's me. The Court of Nothing and No One. Well, thanks for getting me out of there and giving me this wonderful opportunity to venture out on my own for the first time in, oh God, thousands of years. I feel like I owe you all some kind of a gift or something. Anyone? Any takers? Anything you would like?
Hey, your vibes are just absolutely terrible. I mean,
no.
There's room in the court for you if you want to chat, but we don't know who you are or anything like that.
Oh,
you kind of just made our friend turn into nothing.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. He's just a little more attached now. Tell me, if none of you have a suggestion for a gift, how about I offer you one of mine?
I think I'd much prefer if Court of Nothing and Nowhere just turned into nothing, nowhere.
Wait, that's giving them what they want.
Oh. All right. Where do you want me to start?
Wait. What do you mean?
Oh, I think the question was pretty clear. I asked, where do you want me to start?
Starting implies a location. That doesn't align.
I mean, like, what if we said vampires, though, right? Like, then maybe it'll kill all the vampires?
But what about Vlad?
Aaron.
He was nice to us.
Time is running out. I need a place. Give me a place. Otherwise, I'll start right here.
Like, the ocean, the bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
No,
right?
just start here.
Atticus is like drawing his sword. He has no idea what the fuck this is, but he's like, I don't know who you are or where you came from or what George got up to invoke you. I don't give a shit.
Oh no, I
You're
was
standing.
more of a passenger, really.
You're standing in front of something very important to me.
Oh yes, your boy. All right. Well, bottom of the ocean it is.
Maybe not here. Yeah, not here. The ocean's way better than here.
Lovely. I think I might enjoy the crushing depths. Who knows what I'll learn down there? Ocean. Court of Rising Tides, that's your domain, right?
Fuck!
Ooh. Okay. Well then. Goodbye. And the figure melts into darkness.
That seems fine, right? That seems okay. Like, kind of friendly.
Not the first time I've seen that. He was in my trial. I saw him there. And in the manor. In that closet with the mirror. That weird closet that you have near my room with the weird mirror.
I think we just met up Shurielin.
We what now?
The garbage man?
The child's tale George talked about. The tale that I used to be told to scare me to sleep never worked. I loved it too much.
Wait, you were told stories to scare you to sleep? That really explains it.
Oh, Fauna, you have no idea.
Yeah, Atticus doesn't give a shit at all and immediately runs towards Atlas. Like, be damned, something scary happened. He gets one glimpse of his boy, and he literally just starts. He goes,
"We'll do this
my
exposition
boy,
next time."
my boy. He like shakes out of it and runs towards
you
Atlas.
Book it up there, and it is with like this that we're going to end the session. Atticus, your magic circle's gone. Cletus is kneeling there holding Atlas. You get up there to him. He looks just like the day that you lost him. And he stirs. The eyes open and focus in on you. Dad?
Atlas. He gets on a knee and just like, can you stand? Can you?
Atlas just throws his arms around your neck, like still kind of sitting down, but just throws his arms around your neck.
Yeah, Atticus picks Atlas up and just like does the like play hug swing thing, and he's just like, you're never allowed in the library again. You hear me?
No, I don't want to go in the library again. Dad,
for 2 weeks, you're not allowed.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Can I still read the books in my room?
You can do whatever you want, son.
You kind of like look away for a moment, Atticus, and catch Bert. Like Bert is still kind of like during the whole thing with the figure that emerged from George, like Bert is still kneeling there on the ground, just taking deep breaths. Oh, it took a lot out of me. And you feel Atlas's hand on the side of your face. Dad, Bert did it. Dad, Bert saved me. When I did this spell, I did it bad, and I missed a spot, and I didn't know. But Bert, he saved me.
I saw a no, and Atticus is gonna bring Atlas down to Bert and be like, someone wants to say hi to you. Someone wants to say hi to the newly Knight of the Phoenix.
Oh. Hey. So you're that little voice inside my, always yelling. Yeah. I really liked all the stories you used to tell me. They made me want to be more than just a frog.
And Atlas gets down next to Bert.
You're my frog.
And he gives him a hug. And that is where we end with all of you in the grotto. With your son hugging the frog that saved his life.
God.
What? And that is where we're going to end the stream.
Bye-bye now. So long, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Oh, truly,
I'll see you all right
truly
on the other side. I'll see you on the other side.
Bye-bye now.
Or just got turned into a Pop-Tart.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.